The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
First down. Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Buried, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now, your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrick Walker, and Kyle Yeomans.
It is a terrific Thursday edition of Talkin Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company here from the Star in Frisco in the SWBC studios. Today, we preview the Dallas defense and the Dallas offense going up against the Tampa Bay defense. Of course, yesterday was the offensive episode. We talked about Tom Brady and how Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, and that Dallas defense can get after it. It was a really, really fun episode that we talked a lot about really what makes Tom Brady different. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go ahead and check it out.
What were your thoughts on Micah Parsons' comments yesterday?
Interesting. I like it just because there's confidence in it.
Okay.
And you've wanted to see the dog, right? Uh-huh. I felt like there was a little bit of that in what he had to say yesterday. What'd you think?
I freaking love it.
You love
it?
I love it. What do you, not you specifically, but for those that are wondering, I know you're asking it from a neutral plane, but for anyone that had a problem with it, what do you expect him to say? Like, what do you expect him to think? We spoke about, we speak about resiliency, and we speak about expecting and demanding that the team plays up to the elite level that we know they can. And that begins with the competitive fire inside, and that begins with the belief that each one of these coaches and athletes believe. They look in the mirror and say, you know what? I can take this guy. I can take this guy. Whoever you line up against
mentality.
Whoever you line up against me, I can take this guy. And I want Micah Parsons, one of the leaders on this team. DeMarcus Lawrence, you better believe Tank feels the same way. Dak, Zeke, the list goes on and on. I want every one of these players to feel the same way. We're not going to be there for the Pro Bowl. What, Pro Bowl? Nobody wants to be there for the Pro Bowl. So, yeah, I absolutely love it. I love it.
What do you think about it, Isaiah, since you asked the question?
I like the energy.
Yeah?
I don't necessarily like the way in which he said it, but I like the energy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why do you not like the way?
I'm all about protecting the brand, man, and
So are you more so worried about the ramifications it could have as locker room content or the way people perceive it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. It's always going to be about perception, right?
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you got the star on your helmet. So there's a way to go about things, publicly, and there's a way to have your own thoughts. Everybody has their thoughts. Everybody has things that they say publicly. I like the energy. I would have liked to have seen him say it differently. That's just me personally.
What would you have said it like?
You know what I'm saying? I'm not concerned about the list.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that
we're talking
tweet.
two different things.
Oh, we're talking two different things.
Yeah, yes. I think we're talking about
because he had two
different
tweets.
He had a tweet yesterday that was it was basically like the NFL sent a video of him and Tyreek Hill racing in the 40-yard dash and was like, how about let's run it back? He said,
No.
He was like, I'll be in the bowl.
He said, I'll be in the bowl.
I'm talking about the NFLPA all-pro list.
Oh, I don't have a problem with that either.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
What did he have to say about that? I didn't see that one.
He basically said, F that list. I'm in playoff mode, right?
I'm okay with that, too.
Yeah, I'm completely fine with that as well because
that, now I agree with you completely. I'm like, perception-wise, I probably would have said it in a different way.
I like the energy. I like you have those thoughts. I would like to see him display it differently.
I want my dogs, and in this case, lion. I want my lion to be a lion, and in this capacity, it shows you that he's not just sitting there robotic about it. And if you read behind the tweet, like read between the lines, like that pissed him off.
Yeah, absolutely.
That pissed him off. And I want it. I love it. I crave it. I need it. Piss Micah Parsons off, ladies and gentlemen.
Yellow snow.
This is what yellow snow. This is why what were we joking about yesterday? We're going to continue to say that Tom Brady is 7-0 against this team.
Yeah.
Because we know this team is tired of hearing that Tom Brady is 7-0. And then on the heels of that, NFLPA releases their inaugural All-Pro list. Micah Parsons is nowhere to be found. We know that's a snub. We know that's disrespect. But you know what it does? It pisses him off.
But I think what I think pissed him off more than anything? It was voted on by the players, active players.
Even better. I want the maximum level of passivity going into Tampa Bay.
They were back-to-back tweets, by the way. He said, yeah, man, I'm in playoff mode. F that list. Congrats to those that made it, though. They deserve it. And then the other tweet was, NFL tweeted, at Micah Parsons, at Cheetah, should we run it back? He said, sorry, I'm a be in bowl, but I'm confident Cheetah will hold it down for me in my absence. So
I love them both.
Good energy.
The guy's focused. He's angry. That's what you want.
So Zach Martin, Kavontae Turpin were named NFL PA All-Pros. This is the first year they've ever had that list, by the way.
Yes.
And it's voted on by the players. One of the things we outlined that could have been to the disadvantage for Micah Parsons in this list is it's voted on by players. You can't vote for yourself. You can't vote for your specific team. And you can only vote for people you played against, both in your position and against. So let's say center, for instance. If you're a starting center on the offensive line, you can't vote for anybody on your team. You can only vote for who you played on your schedule, and you can only vote for centers, and you only can vote for defensive tackles.
It's weird.
That's it.
Yeah, it's a weird concept.
It's a weird, interesting way.
So the center can't vote for like a corner.
No, he can't.
No.
But then look at Micah Parsons. If you consider him a linebacker, the people that are going to be voting against or voting for him, rather, playing quote unquote against him, would be linebackers and tight ends. It wouldn't be offensive tackles. But who fears Micah Parsons more than anybody? Offensive tackles.
Facts.
So it's kind of an interesting deal.
It's weird. And for those that need clarity on it, this All-Pro is not the same from what's voted on by the Associated Press.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the traditional one, them and PFWA. Those are the ones that will be coming up in several weeks from now. So this was the first ever for NFLPA. And with that weird rule that Kyle just described, it led to Micah Parsons being off of the list. But, yeah, okay. That's fine.
That's about half of news and notes,
fine.
right?
I was just curious.
Yeah,
pretty good.
I mean, other than rolling right into news and notes.
It's playoff time whenever we're not talking about one, but two tweets from a Cowboys superstar in the same day.
I think it was funny that someone tweeted like, "This is the offense was a 21 defense against a 52. A 21 offense against a 52 defense." 21 personnel against a 52, like a 5-2.
Got it. Okay, I see what you're saying.
That's what Jeff Kavanaugh tweeted. He's like, "Let's go, 21 personnel against Jeff Kavanaugh." That's hilarious.
That's pretty good. That's
so there's only two linebackers on the list, right? So
it was Fred Warner and who was the other one?
Good question.
Roquan Smith.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those are the
that's
two.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with those two, though.
No, they're both great.
I definitely respect Fred and Roquan. Love him to death. Go Dogs. But I would have and I said this to Cal yesterday, I would have absolutely pulled Fred off to put Micah on. So, but that's just me. But the voting
depends on who you voted for.
Voting is weird. Yeah, no, more so it depends on who you win against.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very weird. All right, news and notes. What else we got, Patrick?
We got some great news. We long expected Jonathan Hankins, LVE, Tyler Biadasz to be ready for the playoffs, and that is exactly what they're on course to do. Yesterday, the Cowboys officially activated the 21-day window for Jonathan Hankins, but better still, I spoke with Hankins yesterday, in the locker room on yesterday, and I asked him how's he feeling, what are the odds that he will be on the field against Tampa Bay on Monday night, and he basically said that he was physically ready sooner. But because of the IR rules, he had to sit 4 games. And he said, quote, unquote, but I'm not mad at that. It gave me extra time to get my body in even better shape. Now, he said, the time is now, end quote. I love it. Spoke with Tyler Biadasz yesterday in the locker room.
So you're talking about Hankins feels like Frosted
Hankins
Flakes.
said the time is now. Oh, yeah.
They're great.
He's feeling great.
Is that what it is?
Great.
He said he's basically saying he was healthy
Tony the
before
Tiger
the
in this
4
thing?
weeks expired. So now he's that much more so.
That's awesome.
Tyler Biadasz said he feels good as well. He said he has full mobility, no pain whatsoever, no soreness. He lateral, everything he can do. He can do everything, full workload. So he said he's a go. And Van Der Esch didn't speak with him yesterday, but spoke with him last week. And like I said, the look in his eyes is he's ready to run through any and everybody. So he said he was ready, and he said, I'll say it 1,000 times. I feel good. I'm ready. But we're I'm getting ready for the playoffs. That was prior to the Commanders game. So
Question.
Yep. Answer.
Of those three, which one is the most valuable player for this week?
Rank them in order. How about that?
Okay.
Let's rank them in order. I asked that question to Nate Newton the other day, and then I also asked it to Derek off air, and I've gotten completely different answers, even from my own.
For this
I've
week.
had 3 different for this week.
For this week.
This is going into it. Hankins, LVE, and then Tyler Biadasz. Who are the most impressive?
You need to reverse
Well, no, I'm
that.
just
No,
throwing,
he's-
the,
I know, I'm
I'm
playing
throwing
with
it
you.
out
It's a
there.
joke, Kyle. It's
that
a
was
joke.
that was alphabetical.
Gosh.
By first name.
I'm going Biadasz, Tyler Biadasz.
That's
Then
number one?
Then I'm going with Van Der Esch, and then I'm going with Hankins.
That is quite literally my ranking.
Yeah.
So that would be my exact ranking too.
Well, look at us all.
Yeah, look at that. Hey, we're brothers. Hey, how about that?
But seriously, and I know a lot of people would go to the bigger name first, and they say maybe LVE or they say Hankins because of the run game. But if you look at if you listened to Talkin Cowboys yesterday, we talked about specifically how the Buccaneers use their run game versus use their screens and bubbles as a quasi-run game. You could argue LVE would be the most important, but for me, especially coming off of such a disjointed offensive outing in Washington,
You need some stability.
You need your stability.
Yeah.
You need guys back where they're supposed to be on the offensive line, which will help the psychology of Dak Prescott and having trust with those guys, not seeing ghosts, not over-anticipating, and so forth and so on. So for me, and for the guys at the panel, we are all in agreement. It is Tyler Biadasz, the most important of the 3 to return.
Yeah, I think that's something to keep in mind because the LVE, and I would say the gap is close on all 3 of those guys because having those guys back are big impact moves for this team going into this week against Tampa Bay. But I agree. I think you need some sort of stability, some sort of confidence up front. And what's the one position, no matter what, that's going to touch the ball every single play? It's Tyler Biadasz. Mm-hmm. He's the one that's got to be as steady hand, as cool hand Luke as anybody. He's got to be that guy for the Cowboys. So I think, Biadasz, LVE, Hankins in that order. And all 3 are impact guys. If you have a different order, let us know on Twitter.
Yeah, we're interested.
If you have
and make sure you make your points with it as well. Don't just drop the ranking. We're curious to know your mindset.
Nate said on the pregame show, he said Hankins, Biadasz, LVE.
This game?
Not this match.
From last, I asked him on pregame last week, so it was a little farther back.
Got you.
I'm trying to think on what Derek said. Derek might have had the same order, but I got to go back and ask him again. But either way, all 3 guys coming back, huge plus for this Cowboys team.
Fantastic. And Deron Bland practiced on yesterday, which is also great. That was expected. Matt Farniok remains on course. We'll see what happens there.
Didn't we lose somebody yesterday?
Did we lose?
Didn't we lose a center?
Injury? Dakota Shipley was waived. He was the one that was elevated from the practice squad, and then they waived him. But
he got plucked.
He got plucked by a non-playoff team.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Trash move by the Indianapolis Colts.
The Colts went and got him?
Colts got
him to a future deal. Claimed him off waivers for future.
So he can't even be on their roster till next year, to my understanding.
Right. Yeah,
till
training camp.
He can't be a part of anything related to the Cowboys.
Completely handcuffed.
Whoa.
Completely handcuffed.
That wild. Sucks. That shouldn't even be allowed.
That shouldn't be.
I'm pretty sure he still gets.
No, they have to. I don't know that his futures deal is done.
I don't think so. I think
they've already had trash bag day.
Based upon what I read, he can't have any affiliation with the Cowboys going forward. Like he can't. The playoffs.
But
he can't
I think he still, I think if you're on a team for a certain amount of time, you get cut for the playoffs. I think you can still file that you should have gotten money, the playoff money that you missed.
There's like an appeal process there.
Yeah, but I'm saying he can't even get back on the practice squad this year. Like he's locked.
He's blacked out.
He's locked into Indy.
He's blacked out from any team that isn't the Colts.
Right.
Like the Colts absolutely
they picked up his contract.
Him. They just basically kidnapped him.
They got him off waivers.
No, they threw Dakota Shipley in the white panel van, drove him to Indianapolis, and now he's duct taped in the basement.
I mean, that is a
I'm
team
not even saying
that is
comically. Like that is unreal. How just
it is
fugazi that rule. Like how do you allow that loophole to still?
Well, he would because Dallas elevated him with all the Tyler Biadasz stuff going on. Right, Dallas elevated him.
Right. And he's not even a true center. He's a guard center, kind of hybrid.
But our offensive line has had some issues as of late due to injury, right? So having him as an option there was awesome.
Right.
Even though, the probability of you needing to utilize him was very slim, you still had him as an option. Now you don't.
The assumption was that he'd clear waivers, which was a safe assumption, and then the Cowboys would have likely re-signed him to the practice squad.
Correct.
Yeah. But the coach, again, jumped in and non-playoff team.
That sucks,
why would you? Okay, whatever.
That's a franchise that's known for picking up and moving things in the middle of the night, though. So, I mean, what do you expect?
If you know the history, then
you know the history of the
then
NFL,
you just caught the shade, the unadulterated shade from Kyle.
Hey, all
Mayflower.
right. Exactly.
Mayflower.
So, any other news and notes before we take our first break?
Not that comes to mind. If anything pops up during the break, we'll touch it on the other side. But yeah,
right.
I think that's primary.
Sounds good. All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, how can this Cowboys offense find a rhythm? And is Dak Prescott in the right mindset to take on this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense? I'll explain what I mean by a question on that when we come back right after the break.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Home Ownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
Lil Sweet! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Lil Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is.
It's a non-fungible token. Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Are you ready to take coffee off your grocery list forever? Black Rifle Coffee Club is here to help. As a coffee club member, you'll get your favorite coffees roasted, packaged, and shipped to your door free of charge on your preferred schedule. Set it, forget it, and never run low on coffee again. Members also get exclusive deals on coffee, products, and discounts from partner brands. Ease your mind and let Black Rifle worry about your coffee supply. Go to blackriflecoffee.com to join the coffee club today.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
It is playoff week, and the boys need you, Cowboys Nation, to show your team pride and support this postseason with the best gear in the league. Head to the nearest pro shop or log on to shop.dallascowboys.com, a Fanatics experience, and let's get rowdy. Again, Miller Lighthouse is where it's going down this week. AT&T Stadium for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady and these Dallas Cowboys in the wild card round come out to Miller Lighthouse at AT&T Stadium for a free, and I mean free,
$3.99
wild card watch party on Monday, January 16th. Cheer on the boys alongside the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, rowdy, while enjoying lawn games, food trucks, the pregame show streaming live, and the gates opening at 5:30 p.m. Kickoff is at 7:15. For more info, visit dallascowboys.com/2022 playoffs. So yeah, 5:30 is when pregame live gets started. We'll be streaming live to all the video boards out there at AT&T Stadium at the Miller Lighthouse. We'll be filming it from here in the Star in Frisco. Should be a fun
You don't want to miss
evening.
that show.
No.
You really don't want to miss
We've got
that
a
show.
lot of stuff going on.
Why would you want to miss
I don't
that
know.
show?
We definitely make sure that people are the smartest ones in the room.
Right. Make quality life decisions like watching this show.
You ever heard the term running through a wall?
Yep.
And wanting to run through a wall?
Yep.
Just wait until you see the pregame intro video. You're going to want to do more than just run through it. You're going to want to tear it down.
talking about like
You're gonna
Juggernaut?
kick it down. I'm talking Juggernaut, man.
Are you going full Kirby Smart?
It's better than Kirby Smart. Yeah.
It's a pretty high bar.
Mm-hmm. Kirby Smart's a great football coach. I don't know if I was super pumped up by that pregame speech. There was just a lot of profanity in it.
Yeah, I was absolutely jacked.
Were you?
Seriously.
I feel like if you know Kirby, it works out. But if not, it's just a bunch of beep, 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 beep,
if you
beep,
listen
beep,
to the
beep,
message
beep.
behind it, he said, no one in this locker room should be nervous. No one should be scared. Go out there and basically mess them up. He's like, this is not about them. This is about us. This is about what we've been preparing for 364 days. Did you hear what they said? And when he said Fox, he was like, did you hear what they said last Monday? He was talking about after the Ohio State game. He's like, did you hear that? All of that in the same pot. That's what I want for the Cowboys. Did you hear what they were saying after you lost to the Commanders? Did you hear it? This is what you've been preparing for. No one in this room should be nervous. No one in this room should be scared. Go out there and beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're missing out a couple of beeps.
And beep, 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 beep.
All right, let's see what the Cowboys can do going up against Tampa Bay. Nobody should be scared, right?
Nope.
Not at all.
Talking to you too, fans.
Talking the scan. Yeah, exactly. But what about Dak Prescott?
Nope.
15 interceptions in 12 games. Isaiah, you've been critical of the way that he's thrown the football around lately.
Yeah.
But I want you to tell me what he's done well and how he can compound on it. Because it's not all bad for Dak Prescott now. There's no such thing as one or the other. He doesn't either completely play terrible football or completely play perfect, error-free football. Yeah. There's a mix of in between. What has he done well and how does he build on it?
I mean, he's thrown good balls, right? He's managed the team in terms of being able to move the chains, keeping them in good down and distance, making sure that he has the right calls, the right checks, getting them into the right plays. I think he's done all those things. Everything that you expect from a quarterback. It's just it hasn't been consistent. And I think when he stops playing instinctual ball is when he starts running into issues. If you go back and look at a lot of his interceptions or close interceptions from this year, a lot of them come from hesitation. A lot of them come from, I'm not going to do that. Okay, yeah, I'm going to do it. And, and then he ends up throwing an interception. So I think when he plays instinctually, he's on time. I think his location is much better. But when he's second guessing and his feet are not set in the ground and his mechanics are off, that's when Dak starts messing up. And he knows what to do to fix all this. It's not a big question mark out there. It's not a mystery. He just has to make sure that all those boxes are checked. O-line needs to be settled. Mm-hmm. He needs to make sure, Kellen DeMore needs to make sure that they give him plenty of options at all three levels, depending on down and distance, situation, coverage, all that jazz, but provide him many options so that he can always put himself in a good position to make the right choice. That's my biggest thing with Dak. And when you start, I think Kellen Moore has dumbed down the offense so much to where he's made it where it's like, okay, there's either one guy or two guys. Those are only two options that I want you really looking at based upon coverage. And I think Dak gets locked in on that. A lot of the times now he's really locked in, eyeing down the direction in which he wants to throw the ball, and defenders are starting to jump on it.
So it's really interesting. I'm going to plug Mr. Patrick Nosey Walker here because yesterday you released an episode of Catch That Fade, and with Katie Drummond. Sorry, I messed up the name. But I was watching a clip from it, and it was Katie outlining basically what Isaiah just said. If the offensive line up front is settled and there's confidence in Dak Prescott throwing the football, then there is so much more he can do.
Correct.
It's not just isolated with Dak Prescott. It's an offensive-wide problem. So the first step may be giving him a little bit more time so that way his confidence grows. Now, as a quarterback, you got to be able to adjust.
Right.
Even if you don't have the offensive line working well, you've got to play better. You've got to find a way to adjust. So far, Dak Prescott hasn't done that, or at least well, throughout the last couple weeks. So is Tyler Biadasz coming back that big of an impact to where Dak Prescott can see a huge step up from what we saw last week?
Unequivocally. And that's why we three sat here and ranked Tyler Biadasz as the top of those three between him, Hankins, and LVE. Because, again, to your point, Cal, excellent point. What's the only position that touches the ball every single time on offense? Every single time. It's center. It's going to be Tyler Biadasz. He is the quarterback of that offensive line. His presence is going to instill that much more trust in Zach Martin to be able to focus on what Zach Martin needs to do. Because keep in mind, Zach Martin is still learning to dance to his right with Tyron Smith, right? So if you're already trying to learn that dance, but now you have to try to figure out if Connor McGovern is going to be able to, hold this blocker, keep this assignment, et cetera, et cetera. Doesn't matter how godly you are, and Zach Martin is godly, he's going to have some struggle moments where he's allowing pressure. And it's not, to me, accountable to Zach Martin as much as it is he has to play 2.5 positions. Drop Tyler Biadasz back into the mix. Zach Martin becomes more settled. Dak Prescott becomes more settled. He knows his snap. He knows his center. He knows the snap procedure and mechanics. So you're not going to see an issue like you saw with the poor snap in Tennessee after, so forth and so on. And that will allow Dak Prescott to be more comfortable. He won't see ghosts, which is to say he won't sense pressure that's not actually there out of distrust for the offensive line in front of him, not named Zach Martin, right? So once Tyler Biadasz is back, and by all accounts it'll be on Monday, now Dak Prescott just gets to play quarterback as opposed to trying to play quarterback while wondering if his pressure is going to hold up. Because as Isaiah can attest, that's a whole different animal. Scenario A, being able to drop back and be free of issue as far as wondering if your offensive line is going to hold up. So you can just go through your reads and you could, take the protections, et cetera, et cetera. Or scenario B, you're kind of worried about your offensive line. So when you drop back, not only are you going through progressions, but you're also trying to process, okay, I'm looking over here. I sense this coming, but do I believe Connor's going to be able to hold this like Tyler would?
Yeah.
And now that split second, now you throw the ball and it's an interception. Because
you can see that on film, him kind of inching over, knowing when that was going to happen, Isaiah. But it's kind of what you've talked about previously, which is interior pressure is more disruptive to quarterbacks.
Absolutely. No, and Dak does not do well on moving his feet and throwing within the pocket. He get out the pocket is totally
he's
different.
Great, yeah.
But moving in the pocket and not selling his feet is something that he's struggling with.
Now that's different from pocket presence, though,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Pocket presence is like your proprioception, right? Your understanding of where you are in space, right? So being able to work your way into the little gaps, right? Tom Brady's the best at it. In my opinion.
He's incredible.
Tom Brady, Drew Brees, those two.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, they're amazing. Mm-hmm. All those guys, but they find a way to get their feet back settled.
Yes,
that's the thing with those guys, right? They get their feet back settled, and that's what Dak's not doing.
Well, here's a good question. Keeping on the topic of Dak, and this is from G from Jersey, who tweeted this.
Oh, I was just about to ask that question.
I was
Look, it's on my. It's right here.
I was sitting here waiting. I was like, okay, we're in it. Okay, so go for it.
Great question.
Go for it.
So he asked earlier today. He said, "What's more important when making something scientifically, the main ingredient or the additives? What's more important?" The main ingredient, Dak Prescott, is what he said is the main ingredient, or the additives, which is the rest of the team. Can this team win if Dak isn't great on Monday? Can they win if quote-unquote main ingredients, if he is not, that's what he said, he isn't great?
The main ingredients will always, doesn't matter what the recipe is, will always be more important than the additives. That's why they're called additives. They're designed to make the dish itself more flavorful, more enjoyable, things of that nature. But if the main ingredient is trash, on any particular day, then it's not going to work. I will say this: Dak Prescott, for me, and I've said it, and I'll say it again, he's an elite quarterback to me. If he plays poorly, we're not going to go into that conversation.
We had that earlier in the year.
If he plays poorly, then it makes it that much more difficult for the additives to do their job, and the Cowboys might not come out with a win there. If he plays par or better, then the additives the Cowboys currently have are good enough to make it a victory. And obviously, if he plays lights out, then it's Thanksgiving meal all over again.
Yeah. I mean, the main ingredient, and this isn't just for the Cowboys, it's for any team.
Yeah, period.
You would say the quarterback is the main ingredient, and the additives are the guys around him. If you have some heck of spices, you have some heck of those sides, like you're still going to have a great meal.
But you got to have a solid.
You got to have a good entree.
Got to have a solid main ingredient.
Dak has the ball.
So if he isn't great, is it possible that they win?
The ball. Yes, he has the ball, because I don't think that you're going to be able to run the ball as effectively as you want to against this front.
What's ball to you, numbers-wise? Yards and touchdowns.
I need 3 touchdowns, no turnovers.
How about just no turnovers at all?
It's not going to be enough.
Really? You need more than that?
No, that's the
These guys are going to score points.
The standard has to be no interceptions.
Tampa's going to score points.
Yeah.
They are. They're healthy.
Offensively, they're healthy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Tom Brady's healthy. Auden, healthy. Julio, healthy. Gage, healthy. Godwin, healthy. Evans, healthy, they're going to score points. We don't have that many DBs.
Yeah.
Okay, and they don't hold the ball. So yeah, you like to get to TB12, but the reality is your chances are going to be slim in that regard. And the way that their offense is set up is to move the ball down the field. Okay, and when you stop playing bend but don't break, and you want to get more aggressive, then that's when they start taking their shots. And when they take their shots, their receivers are better than our DBs. That's just flat out. So
now, no doubt,
facts. So right now, so that's what we're talking about. So you have to score points. You have to score points, and if you know that you're not going to be able to run the ball like you want to, they're natural running lanes versus a 3-4 defense, but they have Akeem Hicks and they have freaking Vita Vea. Let's be real; those guys have caused havoc in the past. Okay, so you're probably not going to have this 150-yard rushing game.
Yeah, no.
So in that regard, now you have to do what? Throw the ball. Right. So Dak has the ball. That's just facts.
It is facts.
Asterisk. I think he has to play well. Because to me, there's a difference between playing well and balling out. Balling out for me would be 404, right? 404.
So you have a higher bar of balling out.
That's going crazy. Like when you say a player, he's out there going crazy. That's 400 yards, 4 tutties. I'll even come down. I say 3 tutties, but 3 tutties with 250 yards. That's just. He had a really good game.
That's efficient game.
Yeah, that's a really good game. So that's what
three touchdowns, 1 interception is a good game.
Yeah, it's a good game. I'll take that too.
I don't want any interceptions.
Listen, of course you don't. That's the standard. The standard should be 0. The standard is 0 interceptions. But if you're weighing that against 3, if it's 3-1, you got to win this game unless your defense absolutely craps the bed. Like if you have 3 touchdowns, that's 21 points. That's, assuming Maher makes his point after, and then let's toss in another 6 points just for a good measure for Brett Maher. Okay, so if you're at 27 points, you're approaching that 30-point line, and at the 30-point line, history says that you should win this game, right? If you're 27 plus, you should win that game, and if you don't, that means the defense didn't do their job, which kind of goes to the additives. Everybody has to come into play. But and I'll say this, kind of previewing the science lab that'll drop this morning, shameless plug without giving too much away. Here's what's going to work in Dak Prescott's favor. You talk about, Tom Brady and his offensive weapons versus this defense. Fair, true, accurate, all scientific. Flipping it, we're talking about Dak Prescott versus the defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Also true, Vita Vea in that defensive front. That's problematic, going to be tough to run. Here's why it might work in the Cowboys' favor as far as, yes, they might have to pass more frequently. Buccaneers are tied for second worst in the league in passing touchdowns allowed.
Yeah.
29 behind only the Chiefs, which surprised me, by the way. The Chiefs, okay, well, there's a glaring weakness for the Chiefs for down the road, hint, hint.
Yep.
They're also tied for, 5th worst in interceptions tallied this season with only 10. So they have a porous secondary that can be taken advantage of, and if, in fact, there's an opportunity for a takeaway, be it a poor throw from Dak Prescott or a tip drill created by a wide receiver that should have brought the ball in.
Tips and overthrows.
This isn't a Buccaneers team that has proven they can take advantage of it. So I say all that to say anything can change on Monday, but in both favors. Cowboys, Buccaneers, but that is a secondary that is tender to the touch.
You're going to get no disagreements from me over here.
It's tender to the touch.
All that you said goes to the same point that we just made. Dak has the ball. He has the ball.
No, my point is
they're subject to getting torched.
Right.
In that part of their defense.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So I'm saying you're not. So
we're right there.
No, I'm saying I'm backing your point. Like you're backing my point. I'm backing your point.
What I'm saying. We're right
that's
there.
Where they're weak at.
In different ways.
That's where they're weak at. So if that's where they're weak at, Dak has the ball in that area because you're not going to be able to run the ball for 200 yards against these guys.
I think we're on the same coin, just describing it two different ways.
And you can't give it away. And the interceptions that Dak has had, the turnovers he's had, hasn't been amazing plays by the defenders. These have not been amazing plays. These are gifts.
Yeah.
So it's been a gift by somebody, so as bad as him or the receiver.
So as bad as they've been, defensively, Tampa, that is, they don't have to be. They're still professional athletes. If the ball comes to them, they're going to catch it.
Are you saying it's been the Cowboys that have been defeating the Cowboys?
Listen here, you call it what you want to.
Is that what you're saying?
I think that's what you're saying. You call it what you want to, but they better figure it out.
I think that's what you're saying.
Let's talk about the run game because they've been missing as of late as well. They went from averaging right around 150 yards per game, or not 150 yards per game, probably like 121, something like that. I've got the stats that I have to look up, but my computer just died. And then the last couple games, it's kind of it's waned a little bit. It's kind of gone away a little bit. Can they get it back against this Tampa Bay front? And why does Isaiah think that they won't get it back against the Tampa Bay front? When we come back with more Talkin' Cowboys.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Black Rifle Coffee Company serves premium coffee to people who love America. When you drink Black Rifle coffee, you are directly supporting veterans, law enforcement, and first responders in your community. Black Rifle's expert roasters love coffee almost as much as Texas loves football, so it makes sense that America's Coffee partnered with America's team. Go online at blackriflecoffee.com and fuel up with the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. That's blackriflecoffee.com to fuel up today.
Lil Sweet, did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Lil Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is. It's a non-fungible token.
Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys? Jack Black. Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Get the ultimate fan experience for the ultimate Cowboys fan and join Dallas Cowboys United, presented by Globe Life. Starting at just $20, you can join now and get your fan pack, exclusive benefits, and a whole lot more. Visit DallasCowboys.com/United for details and to join today. With Patrick Nosey Walker, Isaiah Stanback, Chris Beam, I'm Kyle Yeomans, Talking Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. Continuing to preview the Tampa Bay defense versus that Cowboys offense. Isaiah, you are worried.
Yeah.
Are you worried? Is that what you would classify it as? About the run game, specifically.
The reason why I worry, per se, scheme-wise, I don't worry.
Okay.
Because you should be able to run the ball against a 3-4.
Love it.
There's natural running lanes. We have some guys up front when we're healthy, right? Hopefully we're healthy this Monday.
Where you're going with this.
You should be able to, you should be able to get up to the next level, take advantage of their smaller, fast linebackers. Their linebackers are small and fast, right? They will run around and hit you. Devin White doesn't want the smoke in terms of taking on offensive linemen. He really doesn't. He avoids at all costs. Mm-hmm. Okay, I've seen it on film too many times. So you should be able to dominate in that regard. But there's some other guys up front. And the guys that they have up front really require 2 guys.
Yeah.
So when you have 3 guys that require 2 guys and you only have 5 guys,
the math ain't math.
The math ain't math. Okay, the math ain't mathin'. So, when I talk about the guys that they have up front, they have Golston up front, Vita Vea, and then Akeem Hicks. Those guys they're nasty, and they're not regular-sized human beings. We're talking about 6'3" to 6'5", 340-pound grown men, and you can't isolate them. These guys have all been all pros. That you're not isolating any of these guys, and if you do, you're asking for a headache. And I'm talking about Vita Vea on Tyron Smith. You don't want to do it. Vita Vea on just Zach Martin. You don't want to do it. I don't care how great they are. There's still a chance.
They're going to eat up multiple gaps.
That's going to be a 50-50 ball, right? Yeah. That's a 50-50 chance. Those guys are both sides of it. They're great. Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, okay, great. Vita Vea, just a freaking load. And you talk about Tyler Smith and the technique that he utilizes. Where we've seen that before. Mm-hmm. We've seen those two go head to head. It didn't really end well. Okay, you put them on skates. So I do worry in regards to the matchups.
Right.
Scheme-wise, we should be able to out-scheme them on the running game. But the matchups that when you step up to the line of scrimmage, you have to execute your assignment. And your assignment against these guys are a lot easier on paper than it is actually in the game.
I agree. It all boils down to can the Cowboys win consistently? They're not going to win every single snap, but win consistently against that front. That front is monstrous, and Vea specifically. The only thing I would add is that I've seen Vea lose snaps, which means to me it's just a matter of trying to win more of those than the typical matchup against Vea would, if you're not the Cowboys. But I recall in the first matchup, though the Cowboys did not win that game, Terrence Steele did escort Vita Vea out of the club. Yeah. I'm not going to say he threw him out of the club, but he sure grabbed him by the back of his...
He escorted him.
Yeah, he grabbed him by the back of his jacket.
And they move him around, right? They move him around.
So I say that in the aspect of if Terrence Steele can do it, then I'm confident Tyron Smith can do it as well. The only question mark is, as I'm sure you'll agree, is can it consistently happen from Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, Tyler Biadasz / Connor McGovern? Because when you move Veda to that side, which is right of center defensively, now you're going to need – it's going to be Connor and Tyler having to double up, and then if they send an extra blitzer, who picks up the extra blitzer? Probably going to be Ezekiel Elliott on that and pass pro, things like that. So schematically, I think the Cowboys are fine.
Yep.
Execution is what it's going to come down to.
No doubt. 18 carries for 71 yards as a team against Tampa Bay in Week 1. Not great against the Buccaneers. After that, though, they went on a tear. From Week 12 to Week 14, Dallas was averaging 151 yards per game, almost 2 touchdowns per game. They had 21 touchdowns from Week 2 to Week 14 on the ground alone. So when you're averaging that, everything's great. They actually went 10-2 in that stretch. Whenever in the numbers that I just outlined, they went 10-2. You talk about the last 3 games, though, for the Cowboys. Of course, 2 wins, 1 against Philly, 1 against Tennessee, and then the loss against Washington. They've been averaging only 88 yards per game, and they only have 2 touchdowns in the last 3 games on the ground. So it has dwindled. It has kind of fizzled out. Now, a big part of that is probably Tony Pollard and his health and his availability.
Rested in Tennessee.
Resting a little bit in Tennessee, really limited against Washington. Like Isaiah said, if he's back and completely healthy in Week 1, he could be the X factor.
Absolutely. Yeah,
he really could be.
Tony Pollard would be a heck of an addition. He would be one heck of an addition.
A fully healthy Tony Pollard.
A fully healthy Tony Pollard. I mean, even if he's not fully healthy, Tony Pollard is still faster than most people on the field. So,
facts.
I mean, I still take that as well. So you have to be able to get these guys moving. Big fellas up front. Big fellas, and that's how they set their defense up like that. They got the big boys on the front line. The second line, they got cats that can run lights out. Okay, they got fast linebackers. So they structured their defense that way. So even they know that their guys up front, the real main guys that can stop the run are the big fellas up front. Okay, because the second level is not that physical in that regard. Okay, but they know if you want to go sideline to sideline to try to throw those big guys off, well, that's why we have the linebackers at the second level that can run. So you really got to pick your poison. But I think your best way of getting these guys off the ball is taking it to the outside. So Tony Pollard would be huge. I think if you can seal the edge, get Vita Vea, get Golston, get these guys sealed on the inside, I think that you would have the advantage size-wise on these second levels. But the receivers are going to have to block their butts off. That is the aspect of the game that most people don't pay attention to. These guys are going to have to be willing to stick their nose in there, come hit some safeties, and to come crack on some linebackers. Because of the 3-4, you're going to be outsized with some of the guys that they're going to be coming tasked to come down and block. With Joe Tryon and some of these other dudes, these are bigger outside linebackers. You're going to these receivers are going to come get physical.
Well, the good news is CeeDee Lamb really does love getting physical. Yeah. He loves blocking down.
Now he does.
Now he does.
Well,
yes.
And you've seen it on film in 2022.
It showed up in that stretch from Week 2 to Week 14. That's when it started to grow and get better.
CD wants to smoke when it comes to the blocking. So all the other receivers have to do is just follow suit and keep that energy. Hashtag keep that energy.
So what you're telling me, and we talked about it yesterday with Tampa Bay offensively attacking the Dallas defense outside, get outside the tackles. So Dallas, you expect them to maybe try and have some success in the same area?
I think that's when their big plays are going to come. I think obviously you're going to run the ball up the middle and try to keep them honest, but I think your big plays are going to come on the outside of the tackle box.
I don't know why this game is popping in my head. Maybe it's because it's NFC South, but New Orleans last year when they had a front seven, Cam Jordan and company that were pretty good. Not to the same aspect of this Tampa Bay front seven, But that was where a lot of the big plays came on the outside.
Thanks.
Tony Pollard broke outside, had the big return, or it wasn't a return, it was a run. It was like 59 yards. It's actually the one he got hurt on. That's the type of success you're going to need, and you need guys on the outside like Noah Brown, CeeDee Lamb, and these tight ends. Dalton Schultz,
yes.
He did not do well blocking against Washington.
Nope.
He was bad, negative against Washington in terms of the blocking grade. Jake Ferguson, Peyton Hendershot, they got to be in there too.
That's a good point. The tight ends have to do their job. I mean, as much as I'm talking about the receivers coming down and cracking, if your tight ends can't work up to the second level and own their matchup, your running game will be non-existent. You'll be non-existent because you'll be able to pass off as a tackle and the tight end working in symmetry. You'll be able to have the tight end come off, knock him down, combo block the defensive end, Vita Vea, all right, Colson, knock these guys down to the tackles, leave them ISO, and now you're asking the tight ends to work up to the outside and seal those linebackers or fit up on those linebackers. And if they can't, your running game goes bye-bye.
And keeping to the tight ends, I'm interested to see because if you go back and you look at the film over the back end of the season, particularly in December, Cowboys scaled back on the number of 3 and 4 tight end sets that they were running. And we saw in the first half of the season, not only were they willing to run them, but they were extremely, extremely productive when doing so. I would love to see if this is the game, and for me, let me rephrase it this way. I would love for this to be the game where that starts to become a thing again.
The resurgence.
Yeah, the resurgence. So let me see some more 3 and 4 tight end sets. Let's get creative because there is no tomorrow. So if it's Jake Ferguson taking a handoff or a quick shovel for a touchdown like we saw this season, make it work. Just keep Todd Bowles and that defense guessing. Like, keep them trying to figure out what's going on, because if you're the Cowboys, you have enough weapons to keep them guessing.
Yeah.
You're not your cabinet is not bare. Your cupboard's not bare. It's not as it was week 1 where it was, all we got to do is throw double and triple coverage at CeeDee Lamb and dare him to run against Vita Vea, and then we got him. Right? We got him. That's not the case anymore.
Not it.
You got CD. You got TY. Dalton can still produce at a strong level, and he's still one of Dak's favorite targets. Peyton Hendershot, Jake Ferguson, they've shown they can make an impact. Tony Pollard, he's now a Pro Bowler, right? Zeke is still Zeke, so forth and so on. You have more than enough weapons to keep the Buccaneers defense guessing, and if you can execute with all of those weapons, now you become, to them, in the Buccaneers' eyes, you become as challenging as the Kansas City Chiefs were when they hung a 40-burger on you. The San Francisco 49ers, even with Purdy. The Cincinnati Bengals, most certainly, because I think I want to say it was Burrow who was 3-1. It's funny we talk about 3-1. I think Burrow had either 4 touchdowns and 1 interception or 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. And then Mahomes had 3-1. But nonetheless, we're talking about the 3-1 formula. This is why I said I'm fine with 3-1. Because although you don't want any interceptions at all from Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, if you outweigh that with 3 touchdowns, this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team will fold.
Yeah.
They will fold as long as your defense holds. So, but kind of circling back, main point, show me the tight ends. Show me your 3 and 4 tight end set, at least consistently enough where it keeps them off balance. I'm not saying I want to see it 10 times a game, but if the Buccaneers see it 3 times, then they know that, oh crap, we have more to account for. Now they're playing backward instead of playing forward. Aha, gotcha.
There's a lot to unpack there. Right at the end of the show.
That's also going to free up some of those run lanes.
No, it is. It will.
So that's what I'm saying.
You outlined it really great. It's just a lot at the end of the show that we got to unpack and maybe talk about a little bit tomorrow, because you know what tomorrow is?
What's that called?
It's a Say It With Your Chest Friday playoff edition. Things are going to get real wild tomorrow here on Talkin Cowboys. But before we go.
What you got there?
Before we go, we got to say something.
What's that called?
And that is happy birthday, Chris B.
Hey.
Happy birthday, Chris. We took it all the way to the end of the show.
Beamer birthday?
You think we forgot, but no, it's a Beamer birthday. We didn't forget.
112, room 112?
Ladies and gentlemen,
he turned 29 today.
That's right.
Jump in Beamer's mentions on Twitter.
Good old 29.
I will never forget your birthday.
Flood
now
him
that I
with
say
the
it's
love.
room 112. I will never forget.
Flood Beamer with the love on Twitter. Jump in those mentions.
man.
Beamer09 is his Twitter handle. Go follow
I
him.
got my girl Sky guy next to me.
Yeah, that's a good
you
gift.
know.
That's a good gift. Happy birthday, Beam. Thank you for everything that you do. You do
sir.
a fantastic job.
Buy him some COD loadouts. Do what you need.
Yeah. Everybody send him like $5 of Xbox money, Xbox cash. He can make it work.
Get that CP up.
Yeah. Well, where's your Venmo? Should we put it up there? His Zelle account. All right.
I don't know if we could do that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
It'd be nice,
possible or
though.
not. It would be great. All right. Happy birthday, Chris. Love you, buddy.
Absolutely.
A pizza party.
Yeah, hey, that sounds good. For Chris Beam, birthday boy, for Isaiah Stanback, Patrick No C Walker, we've got a playoff edition of Say It With Your Chest Friday tomorrow. We'll see you with more Talking Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!